You're watching KCCI, Channel 8, Des Moines. Iowa's news leader and home of live Super Doppler. This is KCCI News Channel 8 at 10.
How extremely irresponsible of him to do that, and especially as a parent.
This Des Moines man is in big trouble after a car crash last night, but police say what he did involving his son is even worse. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight.
It is a bizarre case of how far someone will go to get behind the wheel, even after a half-dozen drunk driving arrests.
News Channel 8's Todd Magel is live at the Des Moines Police Station, where he's been working on this story. And Todd, tell us what happened here.
Well, Kevin and Jeanette, the man's name is Ronald DeVinny, and he is suspended from driving. But now police say he tried to get around that by using his 7-year-old son.
I saw this car moving, and next thing I knew, he was right on top of me.
Charles Schechterly is the latest victim of a convicted and habitual drunk driver named Ronald DeVinny. DeVinny was driving this blue Ford van when police say he ran into Schechterly here at the corner of 31st and Woodland Monday night and then drove away. Police finally found the van driver thanks to a witness. They arrested DeVinny and charged him with third offense drunk driving, hit and run, child endangerment, driving with an open container, no insurance, driving while barred, and failure to obey a stop sign. And if those charges aren't bad enough, Mr. DeVinny now faces another possible criminal charge, and that is registering his van under the name of his 7-year-old son. In fact, the registration is still in the van. We've obscured the first name, but it's the same name as DeVinny's son, a son who was in the van during the accident. Police say because DeVinny is barred from driving, he had to lie to the DOT and used his son's name.
Registering a vehicle because he can't register a vehicle because of whatever reasons, and then to do that under his child's name, just extremely irresponsible as a parent.
DeVinny went to prison last year for drunk driving charges. Now there are more victims, his son and Charles Schechterly.
Endangering the poor child and driving without a license and without insurance. And they're out there all the time, and it makes it tough for the rest of us, I think.
Now, no surprise, DeVinny is in the Polk County Jail tonight. He'll be there for a while. We called, but we could not reach him for comment.
All right, Todd, and the obvious question is how did DeVinny manage to get a registration using the name of his 7-year-old son?
Well, we asked Polk County Treasurer Mary Maloney that, and she says that what has happened, and she's fairly sure this happened, that he basically walked in, lied about the name, used his son's name, and gave a Social Security number, and they say that that has actually happened before, and it's somebody who's desperate enough, because they can't drive legally, they take this route.
They don't check the age then, right?
Right.
All right, good enough. Thank you very much, Todd. Now, more on tonight's top story for you. Police have classified DeVinny as an habitual offender. That means his drunk driving arrests go back a ways. Starting in 1995, he has at least 6 operating while intoxicated charges in the last 9 years.
Fire investigators say rocket fuel may have caused a devastating apartment fire in Clive today. It started just after 12:30 at the Crestwood Apartments. Firefighters heard explosions coming from the back of the building on the first floor. One resident had the model rocket fuel as part of a hobby and had turned his kitchen into a laboratory of sorts. No one was injured, but now more than a dozen people in the building are without a place to live.
It's pretty devastating. These girls just moved in here a couple months ago and been excited about their new apartment, and now this, but they'll have to just start over and make the best of it.
The Clive JCs are collecting items for those affected by the fire. You can drop off toiletries, laundry supplies, cleaning supplies, and blankets at the Clive Fire Department or at the Clive Library.
And new tonight, a woman is burned when her carpet catches fire. Firefighters were dispatched to the 14,000 block of Lakeview Drive just before 6:30 tonight. Investigators say a woman was apparently cleaning the carpet with a petroleum-based product of sorts. The furnace kicked on and ignited the cleaner. The woman was taken to the hospital for burns on her hands.
The U.S. military says 10 U.S. service members and 2 Iraqi government troops were killed today in the fight for Fallujah. From the war in Iraq tonight, the siege on the city is expected to last for at least several more days. U.S. troops have moved into the heart of the city and are punching through parts of southern Fallujah. So far, American commanders say things are going as planned.
We're looking at several more days of tough urban fighting. I'm very pleased at the position that we have the force in right now, and the situation that the enemy is facing. He doesn't have an escape route because we do have the cordon around the city very tight.
Pentagon officials say the all-out assault on the city will not delay Iraq's election, now scheduled for the end of January, and delay plans to rebuild the city are underway. Even when things are going as planned, the recent fighting is tough to hear about.
Especially for parents of those involved. News Channel 8's Eric Hansen has been visiting with the family, and the family members say they can't help but be on edge these days. Eric?
That's right, Kevin. Military families are always concerned for safety, but especially when their son could be in the middle of the action.
When a Marine in Iraq appears on the air, some parents pause, searching for familiar faces. Not Paula Walzer.
When that comes on, I leave the room or I just don't listen. I can only read certain parts of the newspaper, and I haven't listened to a radio station probably since he left in June.
It's just too nerve-wracking, especially this week.
Knowing that he probably is in that area of Fallujah and stuff, yeah, it's real scary.
Before Marine Corporal Tyler Walzer left for Iraq, he gave his baby sister a present.
I love you, Haley. I miss you.
A cuddly bear from a Marine who could be battling terrorists tonight.
To not know where he's at any given moment is pretty hard.
Exactly, yeah.
It's pretty scary.
Walzer's company specializes in security, even door-to-door searches like the ones going on in Fallujah.
Good chance. Very good chance that he is. That's what his training is, so.
So they wait and try not to worry, hoping and praying for their son and for their own peace of mind.
My anxiety certainly has heightened. It's very scary to know what they're doing, especially in Fallujah, and knowing what he's trained to do.
It's been about a week since they have heard from Tyler, and that's not unusual, but it does make for some tense moments, especially when the headlines are filled with fighting in Fallujah, even though they aren't sure that's where he is.
All right, thank you, Eric.
It is homecoming time for 50 soldiers with the Iowa Army Reserve's 394 Support Battalion. The Ames unit was deployed to the Middle East in December of last year. They're coming home tomorrow. For the last 10 months, they have worked to process troops in Kuwait.
In other news tonight, 2 resignations coming in late this afternoon in the Bush administration. President Bush accepting the resignations of both the Attorney General, John Ashcroft, and the Secretary of Commerce, Don Evans. They are the first to leave since the president was reelected. More post-election shakeups could be coming.
Pleasant day outside today, but a little chilly air on the way, but we can't complain for this time of November.
No, we have to wait a couple days before we can start complaining.
Exactly. Meteorologist John McLaughlin's in the weather lab. No complaints tonight, John. Just a lovely evening.
Yeah, a great evening, but a little cloudy out there. So one more pleasant day in the forecast before we start to bring more pheasant days in the forecast. Let's head to the maps. Take a look at temperatures outside. 53 up in Belmont. Rockwell City, you're at 56, along with West Des Moines. 53 in Knoxville and Brooklyn, checking in with 51. Your weather headlines, we've been watching the satellite imagery, seeing if we could get the eclipse to, or not the eclipse, the aurora to show through. Yes, we had both of them. Breezy again, though, for tonight and into tomorrow, and a chance of rain by late in the evening. If you want to see the northern lights tonight, I'm afraid you'll have to run up into Canada. We're staying too cloudy, at least for the time being.
Eclipse, aurora, northern lights, it's just a...
Cats and dogs, it's all here.
Raining from the sky. Thank you, John.
Still ahead tonight on News Channel 8, gas-guzzling SUVs may be draining some wallets, but more and more Iowans are buying these vehicles. What's fueling the craze?
Plus, most are well into their 90s, but you won't use the word elderly with this group of exercisers. We're heading to aerobic class a little later.
And we asked and you answered. A look at just how much paper we shredded to help keep you safe from identity theft. News Channel 8 at 10 continues.
You're watching KCCI News Channel 8 at 10. Iowa's news leader. With Kevin Cooney, Jeanette Trumpeter, Heidi Soliday Sports, and meteorologist John McLaughlin with exclusive live Super Doppler weather. This is KCCI News Channel 8.
Close to 8 tons, 16,000 pounds of documents are now shredded scraps headed for the recycling heap. KCCI and Direct Shred teaming up today to help prevent identity theft.
8 hours of shredding led to 16,000 pounds of personal documents destroyed. News Channel 8's Emily Givens is out at the Great Shredder event today, and quite a party you had today. How many did you expect to get?
Well, we certainly did not expect this much. 8 tons is the equivalent of shredding 4,000 Des Moines phone books. The Great Shredder event was supposed to start at 11:30 this morning, but actually people showed up even earlier than that. The direct shred truck was there welcoming people who wanted to shred documents with all kinds of personal information, never to be seen again. Throughout the day, a steady stream of people came to drop off anything from check stubs a few years old to tax returns a few decades old.
A lot of old checks, estate planning stuff that they've had for 20 years, 30 years, really old documents coming through here.
We have a small shredder, but the amount of stuff we were getting in, this is much handier. I don't have to spend all night doing it.
Now, an extra truck from another company named Shredded actually even showed up for backup, though we didn't need it. Everything that was shredded today will actually be shredded again at Recycle Inc. here in Des Moines. From there, the company makes the paper flame retardant and turns it into insulation for homes.
Oh, so it just doesn't go to a landfill.
That's right.
Good news. Great project. Thanks, Emily. Iowans apparently like their big rigs despite the increasing cost of gas. More Iowans are driving SUVs than ever before. The latest census data shows 97% increase in the number of sport utility vehicles in Iowa from 1997 to 2002. That means 1 in every 7 drivers in Iowa owns an SUV. That still doesn't top the number of pickup trucks in our state. There is 1 pickup, we're told, for every 5 people in Iowa.
Well, before your trash day, take a second look at what's inside your garbage can. Beginning today, there are new items that you can recycle instead of going to the landfill. Go ahead and put empty aerosol cans, things like metal hangers, plastic bottles, even yogurt and margarine containers inside those green recycling bins. Of course, you can already recycle the old reliables, newspapers, aluminum cans, glass jars, and the like. There's no saying if you don't use it, you lose it. Well, coming up, we'll meet a group of ladies who say that's very true, and some of them are pushing 100 and they're not ready for the rocking chair.
Fantastic. And temperatures heading down over the next few days. Super Doppler details. That's next.